thank you so much for joining us, and over to you.
Thank you for having me. I hope I say your name right.
It's chai, like the tea. So at any point, you could just say chai. It's fine.
Chai. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I know for me it's important because mostly everyone misses my name. That's why I went with Juliana.
Yeah.
But hi to everyone watching. This is Juliana. Actually, that's my name. Jackson. I am from Romania. I'm the chief evangelist for OmniConvert. And I have been working in the e-commerce industry for close to 5 years. Overall, I have 10 years of experience working with marketing, sales, and data analytics teams. And today I'm going to talk about how to use transactional behavior data to do custom segments. And this way you will be able to grow your customer lifetime value as an e-commerce merchant. So it's going to be a very interesting presentation, I hope, for you guys. And I hope you will have a lot of fun. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about transactional behavior, segmentation, and customer lifetime value. For people that know of me, that might have joined here, they know that I always talk about customer lifetime value because, in my opinion, is the bread and butter of e-commerce. So today we're going to talk about the e-commerce growth formula, what affects the customer lifetime value, the customer segmentation, which is the one based on transactional behavior, how to improve customer lifetime value, and what is the impact of customer value optimization. So it's very known that there are only two ways to grow a business. One is to acquire more customers, and the other one is to get each customer to buy from you more and more. So what happens in e-commerce nowadays, and it's like a whole chase for acquisitions, and you see brands that are very, very obsessed of bringing that new customer every time to give them the impression that they're growing. But smart brands, though, they understand that it's much more valuable from a revenue point of view to get the customers that you have to purchase from you more. So for a lot of people, this is the common growth e-commerce formula. Traffic multiplied by conversion rate multiplied by average order value, which means growth. Here at OmniConvert, we just like to take it a step forward. And we know that the customer lifetime value and things that influence the customer lifetime value, which is the RFM segmentation, which is actually the transactional behavior one, the margin, the customer experience, the net promoter score, and the customer effort score are all influencing the customer lifetime value. And it's very important to look at growth from this perspective because this previous formula only shows you short-term growth, while this one shows you sustainable long-term growth. This is actually done by my boss, by Valentin. I don't know if he's watching, but if it is, I hope he likes it. And this is how we look at e-commerce growth right now. We believe, and working with so many brands over the years, we believe that there's so many things you can do as a brand to deliver value at every touch point that you have with your customers to grow your lifetime value and therefore grow your business. So now acquiring customers is more expensive than ever. People in the business, e-commerce brands are always trying to acquire more and more customers. And that's a very big problem because except you live on Mars, right? Or not on planet Earth, you will always are gonna fight with other brands that sell the same things as you over the same people. So the market right now has a very big problem with the reach. So imagine two stores that sell the same products, they are fighting over the same customers, the same people. So doing that, obviously, the advertising space is very expensive, is very, tight in terms of, giving and what can you acquire. So that's why it's always a better idea to focus on existing customers. Probably everyone that does advertising knows that Facebook has grown the price on advertising 8 times since 2013, and the CPMs are growing all the time. So that's why we have came up with this e-commerce growth formula to be able to look at different KPIs instead of just focusing on acquisition KPIs, to be able to understand how, how can you move that needle for long sustainable growth. I can share this presentation with everyone afterwards, and they can actually apply this formula to their business and calculate, all these what if scenarios. I'll be happy to provide that after the meeting. So it's very important as a merchant to understand the impact that customer lifetime value has. The most important thing about customer lifetime value is that it answers to a very important question. From all the people that I'm spending money to acquire, how much money are they worth and how much am I worth to them? So knowing your customer lifetime value, you understand what is the impact of all the money that you're spending in acquisition versus what you are getting from those acquisitions, because not every customer that you acquire, it's a good customer. So growth, e-commerce growth is not the same thing as the growth generating factor. So we have a store here that we used to work with, and I wanted to give you an example. And they had a very, they had a huge revenue back in 2015. They had a lot of employees. They had a lot of representation. So these were their first symptoms. They had a lot of revenue. But they had very bad signals here. So their customer retention was under 20%. A decent and normal customer retention rate in the fashion industry is somewhere around 50 to 70% if you're doing it right. These people, while having a revenue, and they still didn't have a good retention, and their NPS score, which I will get to talk about in this webinar, was very small. And if you look at these symptoms and this growth generating factors that we're talking about, we see that even though you get revenue from newly acquired customers, those customers don't stick and they don't purchase from you again, because you have to do something to get people on the track of becoming a frequent buyer from your store. So they could have made so much money, if they could have made 4 or 5 times more money that they could have if they would be able to grow their retention rate. And what happened was that because they didn't invest in their customer retention, the money went down, the geographic representation went low, and the number of employees went lower. So they had to, basically they were in a financial hole because of not focusing on what really, really matters. So the biggest thing that you need to take from this case study is that not all the customers that you acquire are great. And it depends on you 100% if a customer is willing to buy from you ever again. So that's why some customers are better than others. And the best ones are called the ideal customer profile. And I'm going to tell you exactly how you can find these customers. Usually, one customer, one ICP, one ideal customer profile generates margin as much as 376 low value customers. And we know this because of this is the case study, another case study that we did with a company called Otter. And after doing some research, some qualitative analysis, we found out that from all the customers that they were bringing all the time, they were not as valuable as one, ideal customer profile. So it's not a very good idea to treat everybody the same. And I'm saying this because it's a very big tendency in e-commerce, right? When you do, for instance, a good example is email marketing. You send everyone the same message. But you have people in your database that purchase from you 10 times. You have people in your database that purchase from you 1 time. You have people that buy on discounts, or you have people that pay full price. Messaging everyone the same thing, telling them the same story, and not personalizing the way you communicate with them is teaching the ones that are paying full price to pay discounts, is teaching the ones that are regular buyers to not be regular buyers, and it's always turning up the ones that never bought from you because they already don't care. So how to use transactional behavior segmentation to grow your customer lifetime value. This is the topic of the webinar, but I wanted to give you just a bit of an intro to understand how this is gonna go. So let's talk about RFM analysis. So I'm gonna assume, because this is better, I'm gonna assume that not everyone knows what RFM is, but this is a methodology that appeared in the 50s. And basically it says that you can determine the value of a customer based on how that customer is purchasing from you. So RFM stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. So by knowing the recency of a purchase, the frequency of how that purchase is done, and the monetary value of the purchase, you are able to determine how valuable are different groups of customers. So let's go into, this is exactly what I was saying before. So you will be able to use this RFM segmentation, which is a transactional behavior segmentation, to identify what are your most important type of customers by grouping them according to their recency, frequency, and monetary value scores. Doing this, you will have segments of customers that have the same purchasing behavior. And this way you can address these customers with a different type of communication that's gonna be way better than just praying and telling everyone the same story. So these are examples of how the groups are. So I'm just gonna, just like a quick review here. Every group has this, cute name. Soulmates, ex-lover, passionate lovers, platonic friend, about to dump you, and so on. Because we think a lot about purchasing and sales in e-commerce. Is like when you meet someone, you're just jumping in a new relationship, and you should be very wary of that other person and very wary about your own feelings. And you have to understand how you can treat that person to have them more in your life. So I don't know, let's say you try to meet a girl and you like the girl. And if you like her, you're gonna do some efforts to keep her more in your life, right? This is exactly what an e-commerce should do with their customers. So here we can find out, that was my phone that dropped, my bad. So here in this shot, you can see the soulmate group that I was speaking to you guys about, which are the ideal customer profile. And why are they the ideal customer profile? As you can see here, they have a 555 score, which means 5 for recency, 5 for frequency, and 5 for monetary value. This means that they have a good recency, they are frequent purchasers, and they spend good money on your store. So you knowing who is this group, and usually these groups are not very big, you will know what is your ideal customer, those customers that always come back to you, that always pay full price, and they're your business promoters, right? So it's very important that as a brand, you go and talk to these people and try to offer them even, better onboardings, better communication. But, you have to do more, because this is people that will, promote your business. And at the same time, while being a farmer and farming these customers that you have, it's very important for you to understand that knowing the lookalike of these people, you can generate better advertising campaigns by using these groups. And instead of going on Facebook and targeting random people, you can target people that are like your soulmates or your lovers. So this way you can get a better, I guess, type of customer than the ones you would just get, randomly. So it's very important from a transactional behavior point of view to understand which are your high spenders and frequent buyers. And these are called, in this instance here, soulmates. Cool. As I told you before, they are the most important group a store can have. They have a high order value, a high frequency, and recency. So yeah, this is a very important group. This is an example from one of the shops that we work with. They don't represent a big percentage of the customer database, but they represent a very big portion of the margins and the revenue that this, that a brand has. So here you can apply the Pareto principle that 20%, that 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. So that's why the soulmates, obviously they have a very good name for that, are the most important people that you should focus on. Cool. So going back to the RFM analysis, you can see here a graph. This is from our software review. You can see here a graph, and you are able to determine all the groups of customers that that the brand has, and you can see that the soulmates have the highest margins, and they're most profitable from all of them. And you see here a very nice tandem between Soulmates and Next Level, which used to be people that were once Soulmates, but because you didn't treat them differently, because you didn't personalize the way you communicate with them, they just churned and you lost them. And customers just churn every day because nowadays, especially since the coronavirus hit, customers are voting out brands with their wallets. So for you as a brand, it's extremely important to invest in building a great customer journey, and you should be able to deliver value at every touch point that the potential customer or customer has with your store. Okay, this is another group that's very interesting because these are the new passions, and it's usually customers that you just recently acquire but have a nice order value. So this is first-time purchasers. For this ones, it's very important that you look at their order value and understand the potential that they have to become soulmates or lovers. They have, the potential to be repeat customers. So this group of people, knowing them and knowing, how they came to your store, you can forecast future buying behavior, and you can also get involved in this particular group by having the space to take action immediately after. And no, you shouldn't send them an email after you just acquire them to sell them. I want to make like a short parenthesis here from my presentation to tell you a story. So 80 to 90%, and I'm just being super indulgent and nice, but 80 to 90% of the stores right now, they take a new customer from their acquisitions. They get that new customers in their database, and instead of measuring what happened with that first purchase, they just jump the sale, they jump on the sale horses, and they try to sell them immediately. How many times you purchased one product for the first time from a store, and their second message to you, besides the order confirmation and so on, is please buy something else. I don't care who you are. And this happens because brands look at customers just as numbers, just as sales. So my advice for any brand that's watching right now, if you get a new customer, do not sell to that customer until you measure the experience that the customer had with your product and with your services. Because it happens oftentimes that you have a customer that maybe was not satisfied with the experience of purchasing from you or with your services or with your product. And then because you don't ask that customer, are you happy? How do you feel about what happened? In this, in our short relationship, you just go ahead and try to sell them. And they get mad because no one cares about how they feel. And they're just gonna go on social media and trash you. And this is something that happens every day. And I'm sure no brand is a stranger to this thing. So that's why it's very important to do the RFM segmentation. And it's very easy to do it with Reveal, because once you connect Reveal to your store, the groups are gonna appear automatically, and you will know exactly what are the types of behaviors that your customers have. So these are a few groups here that I just scrolled through, and you can see by the the names they have. Everyone loves their names. It's funny because a lot of our customers name them in their own way. But the main takeaway from here is that your customers are not created equally. They have different needs, different behaviors. They purchase at different times. And it's your job as a brand to be able to intervene in the customer journey and understand how you can transform from first-time buyers to repeat purchasers. So just like a short help, a tip that you can do, it's very important to look at your average days between transactions and think of it like this. I acquired the customer today. Usually based on my historical data and my transactional data that you will see in the RFM, you'll understand that you have a buying cycle of either 30 to 60 to 90 days, depending on your business cycle. So if you have, let's say, a buying cycle of 30 days, you're a fashion store, and someone just purchased a t-shirt from you, you have 30 days to do something to try to move that customer from a first-time buyer to a repeat buyer. But that doesn't mean you have to send them your promotions and sales and discounts. That means you have to measure the experience. Again, that they have with your product and with your services, and try to provide value to you know, try to provide value to your customer. If they want to buy from you, they will buy from you. But you cannot, it's driving me crazy a lot. This is, you can see probably because I'm ranting, but it's driving me crazy to know how much potential brands have to develop amazing relationships with their customer, but they just lose them because they're so focused on acquisitions. So here, moving further, you can see the revenue that each groups bring. So this is, again, it's another screenshot from Review. And here you can see the dynamic between the different groups. And obviously the Soulmates and the New Passions are the ones that are bringing the big bucks. Obviously the other ones are not bringing the same money. That's why it's very important to address your Soulmates, your lovers, and the New Passions. And with the ones that you're about to lose or about to churn, it's very important to address them and understand what happened in their customer journey that made them stop purchasing from you, or resent you, or resent your services. So here again, you can see that the customer lifetime value per each RFM group is different, but obviously the ones that are your best customers, this group, I'm gonna say it a lot of times, your ideal customers profiles are the bread and butter of your business. So you need to know who they are, and you only can find them, you know, and understand them if you just measure that. If you have to measure it, you have to do that RFM segmentation and understand who are my ideal customer profiles, who I should, you know, how I should address my other segments of customers to be able to get more Soulmates, to be able to get you know, more revenue from these people. So this takes us to the question, how to improve your customer lifetime value. And this year, customer lifetime value, and I'm happy about this, has become such, you know, such a spoken about topic in the e-commerce business, and I'm sure you guys heard it too. And everyone is talking about CDPs and first party data and customer lifetime value and being, you know, customer centric and so on. But how do you do it? How to improve it? This is the most important part. Yes, technology is great. There's so many options for technology. There's so many options for different companies that do different things from a strategy perspective. But it doesn't mean anything if your mentality is stuck in always. So the biggest challenge in the market right now, from my opinion, is to challenge the status quo of people. It's very hard because as a business owner, you feel like this is my baby. I have to get this money. I have to get this done. I have to protect my business. But doing this, you're actually stopping your business from growing because you're not allowing people in your team, or you're not allowing yourself to try different things to grow your business. So the most important part is to align the whole organization around the mentality of being customer centric. It's not just a buzzword. It's a very, very important thing. There are two types of companies. Actually, I would say there's three, but these are the most important ones. And it all comes down with how mature your business is. Because let's be honest, a lot of people just started their stores like a year or two ago. Some of them have a lot of success, some of them don't. Obviously, when you just start out, you have to be acquisition centric. You have to, you know, bring customers in. But unfortunately, by being so focused on acquisitions, you experiencing, you know, I call it dead by paid marketing. You're gonna experience that because you just go in a frenzy of being so acquisition centric that you just fuel money on all the channels, because this is the only way you think you are growing the business, and it's wrong. So that takes us, you know, to these two types of companies, and the product centric and customer centric companies. And obviously, you know, you guys see here that I put some different aspects of the both types of companies, but it's always good to find the balance between the value that you offer through your products and the value that you offer through your culture. And when I say culture, I don't mean only about your branding. I'm talking about every touch point, again, that you have with your customers or visitors or audiences. So it's very important for you to not be, you know, stuck in all ways of thinking, and not be stuck into admitting sometimes as a business owner that you don't have to know everything, but if you don't know everything, that doesn't mean you do not know anything. So it's very important for a business owner to be able to be open to this, because otherwise it's very hard. And I think for me, as you know, from where I stand in my job, in the conversation that I have day to day with people, for me this is the biggest challenge, the people's mentality. So let's say we're lucky and everyone has their mindset, and we are gonna become customer centric and we're happy, you know, everyone is excited. Okay, so what next? You have to understand that you have to monitor what matters. Because I mean, yeah, you can monitor a lot of data. There's a lot of things that you can look at. There's always gonna be enough data for you to look at. But from my experience and our experience at OmniConvert, these are the most important metrics that you should look at. So the acquisition cost, the net promoter score, the lifetime value, which I put 2 times in the presentation by mistake. Just probably I wanted to make it just clear that you have to monitor your lifetime value, your margin, your retention, and the average days between transaction. So knowing this is a very cool thing. So remember when I was saying earlier, guys, that there's this buying life cycle that you have, like your buying cycle that you have that could be of 30, 60, or 90 days. So knowing the days between transactions, you are able to do a forecast to understand what are the chances for a new customer to purchase from me again based on my historical data. So here we have aggregated data from 151 stores. Majority of them are 6, 7, 8-figure e-commerce stores. So you can see here that it's a very big gap between the first and the second order. And this happens because after the first order, brands do not do anything to move the needle. And this is exactly what I was talking to you guys about earlier. You make that first order, and instead of trying to build a relationship with the customer, you're just trying to sell to him again. And that's wrong. That's very wrong, because is this mentality that the whole sales cycle ends when that customer buys. And then you say, okay, this guy bought, I'm going to get a next guy, to buy from me, and that's it. This is where it ends. No, this is where it begins. So after the first purchase, this is where it all begins. So as you can see here, there's a very big gap between the first and the second order. Once this gap is addressed and you are able to understand how to do better communication and onboarding with your first-time customers, you see here that the chances are growing consistently after you are able to fix this. So this is a very, very important aspect that you should take in consideration. And exactly what I was telling to you earlier. So you have to make sure that you address the gap between the first and the second order. That's the biggest one. Once you get the customer to purchase 2 times, it means you have built the trust to get him there. And it's easier for you to have that customer purchase more frequently than it would be for a person that just bought once and you have the impression that that person owes you business all the time. This is exactly what I was saying earlier. Yeah. Cool. So those are my my most important metrics. Moving further, you have the data, but what do you do with the data? So a very important thing that you need to do is the qualitative research. So you need to mix the data that you have, the insights that you gain with the data, with what people are actually saying, because data is great. You look at graphs, you look at charts, you look at metrics all day and KPIs, but if the data is not actionable, then it's useless. It doesn't make no sense. So it's very important to understand what can you do with the data, with the transactional behavior data. So you can see here the groups for the RFM segmentation groups that I was mentioning earlier. You can look at them and see how many recipients each of these groups have, and then you can do different qualitative research surveys to understand what are the forces of progress that made them purchase, what are the struggling moments that they have, the barriers, the frictions. And you also need to understand how you convince them to buy from you. And of course, the NPS score, which I will talk more about in moving further. So doing this qualitative research, exactly as I mentioned earlier, you will understand three main things. What are the emotions behind your customers' actions, which is this thing here. It's called jobs to be done data. And I actually want you to look this out. Jobs to be done is a methodology of interviewing customers to understand what were the reasons that they hired the product for a job. So this is something really neat. And I was lucky enough to participate in a workshop with Bamo and stuff, who's the person that promoted this a lot. And his new book is great. This is a very important way to discuss with your customers. It's basically, long story short, you have an interview with the customer for an hour and a half, and you ask them different questions to understand what is the reasoning behind purchase and what were they actually looking for when they purchase from you. Because a lot of people, most people purchase because of emotions. They don't purchase, I don't know, they purchase a hammer, but they don't purchase the hammer because they need a hammer. They purchase a hammer because they want to put a picture on their walls with their kids. So you need to understand what's that emotion, what's that problem I'm fixing, why are people hiring my products for? So you will know exactly what type of value that you can deliver further. And knowing that is very important for you to, look at the product and understand what are the best qualities of the product, what are the features that, are making people happy. Is my pricing okay? Is it not? How about my brand? Or how about the brands that I sell through my store? And then, very important, the services issues. You need to understand if customers are happy with your services, with the delivery times, with the customer support, your return policy. Very important thing. So all this qualitative research that you can do can ultimately make you understand where you are, because you can go anywhere, but if you don't know where you're going, you're just being, right? So once you are able to understand this qualitative research and understand the results you gain from this qualitative research, it's time for you to get started on working on that customer experience that you provide. So we did this research. We did actually, I think this was around 2019, 2000, half of 2020. And we just did this research to understand why customers leave companies. And obviously, as you can see here, customers leave because they think the brand doesn't care about them. And actually, I did this poll on LinkedIn the other day. And I asked people, do you think that the brand you're purchasing from gives a crap about you? And everyone, just said no. And I knew it. I knew they're going to say that. But at the same time, it's sad because it's not that you want, I don't know, that brand to go over the top for you, but you want to feel special. You want to feel like, you're a part of a community. And this is where a lot of brands fail, because they're not trying to build a community around their brand or around their product. They're just trying to sell. And I mean, it's very important to sell because that's how you're making money, but it's also important to treat people nicely and treat them like people, not like numbers. So that's where customer experience jumps in, because online shopping right now, it's not something that you just, as it was before COVID. Really, it's like look at us. Most of us are on lockdown. Everyone is purchasing online. So shopping has become something we do. It's not something that we go to anymore. So as I said, customers vote constantly with their wallet. So if you have a shitty experience or a shitty product, they're gonna vote you out, and that's the sad story. So Net Promoter Score, it's a very good way to understand what is that experience. How is that experience, in the eyes of your customers? So the Net Promoter Score, you probably know it by that question that you get all the time after you purchase something, and they ask you on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 9, how would you recommend these products to your friends and your family? And a lot of people say, Net Promoter Score sucks, I don't get it, whatever. Well, the reason that they think it sucks or it's not good is because they don't measure it right. Because it's not only enough to measure something, you have to know how to measure it right. So I have this cool meme here that I always like. And you have to understand that it's a very big gap between pre-delivery and post-delivery. Let me paint this picture for you. Let's say I saw an ad from a fashion store and I bought myself this dress. On the ad, their marketing convinced me to go on the website. The expectations that the marketing has built convinced me to purchase. So I purchased. I'm excited. I got myself this nice dress. Oh my God. On the thank you page, the brand asks me, on a scale of 1 to 9, how happy were you with the experience of purchasing from us? Obviously, I don't know you guys, like, okay, I can say, yeah, I'm happy. Great, thank you. But I'm only doing that because your marketing has built some expectations in me, right? So obviously, because I'm excited, I'm gonna vote, it's great. Okay, cool. I move on. I get the products in a few days. I open the products. They don't fit. They look bad. They don't look like in the pictures. They don't have the same quality that their marketing was promising me. So post delivery of the product, I don't like the product. I'm not happy. Or I'm not happy with the delivery company, or I'm not happy with their customer support. I'm not happy with the return policy. But no one asked me what happened. They only asked me on the thank you page. So if you don't measure what happens pre and post sale, then you only are measuring what happened before the actual customer got the actual product of the actual order he did. So if you are to measure NPS score, you have to mind the gap between pre and post delivery and understand that it's a very big difference between what people expect and what actually happens. And doing this, measuring NPS pre and post delivery shows you if the expectations built by your marketing are actually meeting the customers. So this is a very, very important part that I just, I see a lot of people talking bad about NPS, but they are at the same time, they don't measure it right. So for me, my big takeaway from this is measure it pre and post delivery and understand how customers feel when they purchase and how they feel after purchasing. Otherwise, you're just doing NPS for no reason. So going back to the transactional behavior, you can see that you can track the NPS by all these segments. So as every segment purchases differently, every segment has different feelings and emotions and so on. So it's good to also not do NPS on a big load of data. It's also great to do NPS on segments, because this way, when you address, when you have different personalization, actions, or when you do different communications via email marketing and so on, if you know their NPS, their voice, if you understand their voice and their needs, and you also know how they buy, you are obviously going to be able to provide a much better experience to these groups. You can also do NPS per products, which is very important, because not, unless you're selling just, I don't know, one product or two products. If you're like a fashion store and you sell a lot of products, it's very important to monitor NPS, because a lot of products might be sold a lot, but people might not come back to purchase from you after, purchasing that one product. Let me give you an example. We had been working with a store, and they just brought this this shoe line from China. The shoes were gorgeous. They were cheap. So people that used to, people that were purchasing regularly from that store, they saw a new product, they were super excited. So the product was super sold because it was cheap. It was like $10 or something like that. Everyone was buying it. Unfortunately, the existing customers that used to be frequent buyers, after purchasing this product, they never came back. And the ones that were first-time buyers and their second order was this product never came back. And they were not understanding what is happening. Then we did this NPS score for the brands and the product that they had. And we understood that one of the products, this one, was a toxic product that instead of helping them, grow, it was actually putting them in a financial hole, because the product was great, but no one was asking them. It was great looking, but it wasn't good. It wasn't useful. So people were saying, when we did the interviews with them, they were saying it was cheap anyway. It was not even worth, returning it. So that's the problem. But it was like such a bad experience for them because it destroyed the whole trust that they had with the brand, that they never came back to purchase again. And to be able to understand how good a product does, you have to measure that experience with the brand and the product. Also, the NPS score helps you in better your customer service. So you can do a branching logic based on the NPS responses that you receive. And then, based on how happy or unhappy people are, they are sent to the customer support, and the customer support knows how to treat these people. Let's say I'm a Soulmate. I have a high net promoter score because I'm a promoter of the business. I'm not, someone that's unhappy. And I come to customer support. Customer support sees my customer ID, sees my name, sees my score, and the group I belong to. They will give me a different type of support. If I'm a problematic customer, they will know how to treat me with, walking on eggshells and, put gloves and try to treat me in a different way. So knowing the NPS score can help your customer service team do their job better. Cool. Moving further, a very big part of customer experience and growing customer lifetime value is the customer journey. And throughout this whole conversation that we have, and I hope you guys are still there because I don't see anything. It's very important, as I said a lot of times, to deliver value at every touch point with your audiences. So you have to understand that customer journey has changed. Previously, it was, advertising, people buy, sale is done, 3 points. This is how still majority of e-commerces are seeing, customer journey today. It's not like that. There are so many touch points in a customer journey that the biggest step for someone that wants to deliver better experience and improve the customer journey is to sit down and take a piece of paper and a pen and write down all the touch points of what a customer is doing, in relationship with their store. And you will see a lot of useless steps and a lot of helpful steps. And the thing is that, as I said before, shopping right now is something we do, not somewhere we go. It's very important that all these points and touch points that you have, be it via advertising, via website, via email, via your services, via your customer service, it's important for you to deliver value and make sure your company, your brand's value is being seen at all these points. You cannot slack. People don't have the patience right now to deal with shitty products or shitty websites, and they're just gonna go because there's always gonna be your competitor right outside the door to provide a better service. So it's very important for you to, it's like a continuous loop. That's why is this graphic here. So, 1 second. So this is as I was saying to you before, I always like to, give a bit of intro before I show. So this is a basic standard customer journey for an e-commerce. You have the demand, the order is placed, you get the confirmation, the order is delivered, and then bam, you start discounting, selling everything. Bam, 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 bam. But the thing is that even if you do this, only a few people are gonna buy from you again. So if your customer journey looks like this right now, you have to change it. You have to do anything that's needed for you to change it. This is how an advanced customer journey for an e-commerce should look. As you can see here, once the first order, as I was telling you before, once the first order is completed, you have to measure the experience that people had with your product, services, and your overall experiences. If they had bad experiences, you have to treat any objections to your customer service team. Then, if people are okay, you have to get them enrolled in your RFM retention program, which is a retention program based on the segments that I was mentioning to you before. These segments need to have a personalized approach via advertising, email, and web experiences. And then if you do this, if you add these steps in your customer journey, your chances for second orders are gonna double because people are looking for experiences right now. And the thing is that your product as a brand, your product is not enough. Your customer experience is the product. So your customer experience will beat the best product that you have, because without having an undeniable experience and undeniable product, you're done. You cannot slack on either of them. But your customer experience is the product. That's what you have to sell, your customer experience. So thank you. I hope you're still alive right there. I wanted to say that everyone that's watching this, they have a review in the Shopify App Store, which does everything that I was talking to you about, and you can find it in the App Store. It's free to install, and everyone that participated in the webinar can email me and tell me that they participated in the webinar, and I'm happy to provide the product or an initial audit on your data. And that's it. I hope you're sorry. I talked a lot. I don't even know what happened, but yeah, I still look good. My hair is bad.
It's absolutely wonderful. I mean, I was just constantly absorbing so much of your experience and knowledge on the subject at hand. And we had so many questions coming in from the live session as well. One of this is, I mean, the two questions were asked by Leah Martinez, and she says that, let me just open that up. Well, the first thing she asked was that she joined in a bit late. So is it possible for her to get the slides or the replay?
I will send them to you guys after.
All right. And the second thing that she asked, which was more of a compliment, and I completely agree with that, was just I'll just open up that. Yeah. So she said that Juliana is amazing, which she is. I completely see that. So much experience that you can have 1 hour session on each topic. Would love to have a session from scratch. How to do this segmentation in detail. So if you have any quick thoughts about that, about segmentation in detail.
So you can always go for Excel. Excel is your friend. But if you have a Shopify store, or if you have a Magento or whatever, just install Review. It's free. You can get that segmentation based on how big your store is in a few hours. If you have a huge store, it's gonna take a few hours because there's a lot of data. But if you have a small store, you can have the segmentation done in minutes. You just install Review, and then you will see it in your, in your face in a second. And then, we have an amazing support team, and we are always offering people help to, it's not enough to do RFM segmentation because you get some default, groups. It's also very important to adapt these groups based on your business model and your life cycle that you have with customers, and also the buying cycle. So based on, how big or small your business is, we are happy to help.
That's wonderful. Another thing that most of the questions that were coming in, and this is something that we've been discussing in the team itself, is that one of the problems that we see when we approach customer lifetime value is a persistent issue of siloed data. So there's a data that's available, but it's certainly not useful to the person it is with, and then inside that whole corporation structure, it could get lost, and the value dies with it. So what would be your thoughts in approaching siloed data and how to use it in enhancing the customer lifetime value?
So the easiest way, obviously I'm looking at it from a subjective perspective, but if you have the customer data, you have the order data, the category, product and categories of products data, you are able, and obviously, order data clearly. I hope if I missed it, you are able to crunch it, because you have to know who, when, and what. That's it. Who purchased, when did it purchase, and what did it purchase? So if you're using Shopify, Magento, PrestaShop, every CMS has this data about you. It's just that they don't take it the step further to crunch the data and give it to you. That's why we started in 2013, and we were doing conversion rate optimization. What we've seen some 2-3 years ago, that conversion rate optimization is moving towards customer journey optimization. So we said, we're already doing this RFM segmentation for people, and it was, we had like a small plugin for Magento. I said, let's move further, and just, when my boss just, grew this whole product that we have today. So now the moment you connect it with Magento, Shopify, and whatever you're using, the data is pulled from there by Reveal, and it's crunched, and you are just given the insights of the data. So instead of you trying to bring data from different silos and try to make sense of it, automation is the key. in this sense. So yeah, this is the way it's gonna be. One of my predictions is that in 2021 you will see a huge movement towards customer data platforms such as Revelius. And the more integrations you have with personalization softwares, the better. So
Right.
that's it for you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. One more question came in is that Leah writes, I've been on so many sessions lately that tells me that the exact opposite, to sell more, to do upsells in the first order, and then to email after the orders with more offers. But what you said about the customer experience is the product, this is so true. But what do you think about upsells on the first order?
I think it's bullshit. I'm sorry. With all the respect for everyone listening and for you, Leah, which you're so nice to comment, whoever is teaching you to treat customers like numbers, run away from them. You cannot sell an upsell to people if you don't know if they're happy. So Leah, let's say you bought something from a store where you enjoy. Let's say you bought something and you have a shitty experience with that store. Do you want that store to come to you and say, hey, buy my jacket too, buy my shoes, buy my hat? You will get crazy. You will go on their Facebook or LinkedIn and, say something mean. So no, it's not. Having a sales focused mentality is gonna drift you years from the growth. Obviously, it's important to do sales. It's important to do upsells. It's important to transform new customers to repeat customers. But there's a way to do that, and there's a way to not do that. And by doing this selling something, this is not a good practice. The best practice is to be a farmer, to nurture these people, to give them value. There's so many things you can do. Email marketing is a very important aspect. There's so many emails that, let's say, we have a customer that sells pillows and blankets and so on. And, this is a lot of people sell the same stuff. So they are actually known for their mattresses, right? They have mattresses. So instead of them saying, buy my blanket, my pillow, and my mattress cover, they're explaining people how to, do to sleep better, what to drink at night. Like if you're in the sleep industry, for instance, there's so much content that you can use. 5 books to read at night. What type of tea? And a very important part that I want to add here, if we still have time, I think we still have like a minute. Uh, a very important part, and I was talking about this on LinkedIn the other day, the unboxing experience. I don't have a box right now to be dramatic. Okay, I don't have a box to be dramatic. But listen, everyone who's watching, the only marketing campaign that has 100% response rate is the unboxing campaign. Everyone is gonna open that box that you send the product in. And when they open it, there is your moment to shine as a brand. Obviously, it's good. You open it and then you see something. You see your product. Okay, cool. Let me tell you what happened to me. So I love Mendy's, right? So I said, I'm going to get a Mendy this Christmas. I'm going to have fun. So I ordered a henna cone from a company that sells henna, but I ordered it from a marketplace. I didn't order from the henna company. And the box came. It was a pretty box with a henna, but they also made they sent me like a model for my hand to to make the Mendy. I hope I'm saying the word right. But they gave me a nice model to use for my hand, and they put a smiley face on a paper note. It took them nothing to do that, but it made me happy, even if it was the stupid stuff, And they sent me a nice instruction, and they said, this is your DUI kit. Hold it in the, in the freezer. Make sure, because the henna, if you hold it out, is not gonna have the same, power on your hands to stick. So this is the type of things, or I don't know, you're selling food. I'm a big foodie. I love eating. So I order food from a company that sells pre-cooked packages, of food. But they send me a whole explanation of how to warm up the food. What are the calories? How should I eat it? How should I? Like, the unboxing experience is everything. But if you just sell the product and that's it, you have no trace of your personality as a brand. I mean, they might buy from you again, but they won't remember you. You have to give something to someone to remember you. They might not open your email. They might just slide through your ads. But then when it's in people's hands, it's different because you can experience something. And if you don't do anything in your unboxing campaign, people don't care. They might buy or they might buy, but no one is gonna remember who you are. And that's very important. So Leah, to answer to you, run away from the exact opposite. Not because I'm, I should be right, but it's people. We're people. We have to treat each other like people. We shouldn't treat each other like a transaction. Because if someone is happy with you as a person, they're gonna stick around, and that's it. It's super
That's
easy.
absolutely wonderful. And I think we're overshooting a bit more. So, but that's perfectly fine. I think it's the insights were actually so tremendously valuable. Now, before we end the session, I would just like to know that if any of our attendees who are watching this, or when we put this out on our socials and on the website, would like to reach out to you, what are the best ways to reach out to you? What are the best ways to reach out to OmniConvert, and how to basically get into a touch contact with you?
They can email me. I can drop my email right now here so you have it. Okay. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn if you send me a nice connection message. And yeah,
Sounds good.
you will find me on LinkedIn as Juliana Jackson, and my link is making first party
Right.
data hot again, so it's not my name. But if you send me a cute message on LinkedIn, I will accept you.
Sounds wonderful. And so, for those of you who joined in a bit late, we can assure you that we'll be taking this entire video end to end, and we'll be putting it on the Chloris website. So you can go on cloras.com, and under the eBiz Masterclass section, you can find this recorded session where Julia shared her amazing insights. I think Leah just said something else. Well, Lol, I just sent a really nice message on LinkedIn prior you mentioned. Oh, that's
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Wonderful.
I will find my phone fell on the floor like 30 minutes ago.
I hope it's not broken.
Me too. Me too. It will be my second phone I broke this year.
All
Yeah.
right. So thank you so much for joining in, Juliana,
Thank you for
and
having me.
it's been a tremendous experience. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with
Thank
us.
you. And thank you for everyone that is watching, and chalo.
Have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye.